Hey you guys, it's Kristen. Welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't made any content like this in a long time, but anyway, I'm really excited to make this video. This video is about when I found out that I had Crohn's disease, my experience with having Crohn's disease, medication, and pregnancy with Crohn's disease. Yes, I'm pregnant. Shh, a secret. But anyway, guess I'm kind of sort of not really, but kind of announcing on this YouTube, but this isn't an official pregnancy announcement. And if you keep watching this video, you will know why. I am currently extremely emotional in my pregnancy, so I'm hoping and praying that I do not cry during this video. But yeah, so here we go. And I also have notes to the side, so I make sure that I don't leave anything out. So if you see me looking to the side of my computer, it's me looking at my notes. First things first, I want to say that I decided to make this video because when I found out that I had Crohn's disease, one of the first things that I did was go to YouTube and also go to TikTok to look for other Black women who had the disease and their experiences. Even though I had a friend who had Crohn's disease, I really wanted to get a lot of information from other people's experiences because everybody's illness is always going to be different. It turned out when I found out that I had Crohn's that I actually had two friends that had Crohn's and did not know that one of my friends who had been my friend since high school, we worked the same job together, had also had Crohn's, and she had had it for like 10 years when I found out that I had Crohn's. So anyway, let's talk about it. Crohn's disease, what exactly is it? So my definition, a chronic inflammatory bowel disease that affects the lining of the digestive tract. Crohn's disease can sometimes cause life-threatening complications, and that's just the Google definition. So a lot of people will say that they have IBS, which is just the bowel disease, which they say that they have some, issues with their bowels, which can be like Crohn's, but not exactly like Crohn's. Crohn's is more on the severe end of IBS, and so is something called, oh, I'm gonna butcher it, ulcerative colitis, UC, Google it. But yeah, those are the severe things of IBS. So I have Crohn's. I found out officially that I had Crohn's in July. And it took what I think took a long time for me to find out that I had Crohn's. Um, on, I don't know if it was Labor Day, whatever that day in May is. I don't know what it is. I think it's Labor Day. It might not be Labor Day, but whatever that holiday in the end of May is the day that I found out Crohn's. One random Monday, I started experiencing some really bad pain, and I had some really bad gas prior to it. And I've always had bad gas. Not consistently, but I've had bad gas to the point where I couldn't stand up. I couldn't move. Turns out that whole time it was Crohn's and didn't know it. But this time I was experiencing what seemed like some really bad gas to the point where I could not stand, couldn't move. I was just completely isolated, did not know what was going on at all. And I was really confused because I was like, dang, it's some bad gas. I was like, maybe my period gonna come on, like this is a period symptom or something like that. But it got so bad to the point where I couldn't walk. I actually had a coaching call today. I'm a business coach, and I had a coaching call today or whatever. And I was trying to do my coaching call, and my client was like, "Nope, you need to go to the hospital. Something's not right with you." I was like, "Girl, I'm fine. Just give me a minute. I got some bad gas." She was like, "Well, I'm not doing this call with you, so you need to go to the hospital." And I hate going to the hospital. If you know me, I hate needles. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Well, it's actually all the way here. Actually, it's all the way here. So I hate needles. But anyway, I was crawling down the steps and my husband was like, we're going to the hospital. We're going to the hospital. So we went to the hospital. We dropped our daughter off with her grandmother and we went to the hospital. They ran some tests, which they did an MRI. That's the best way to see. They did an MRI and the doctor was like, I can't tell you that you have Crohn's disease because there has to be a certain, there are some testing that has to go on with a specialist, but this looks like Crohn's disease. You for sure have some form of IBS, but this for sure looks like Crohn's disease to me. So I instantly started crying and freaking out because if you know me, I am a crier, but I instantly started freaking out. I'm in my close friends. I'm like, these people saying I got Crohn's disease. And my friend who has Crohn's disease is in my close friend. She was like, you're fine. You don't have Crohn's disease. It's going to be all right. Just call me later. We're going to talk about this because you don't have Crohn's disease. I was like, oh, that sounds good, because most people who have Crohn's disease experience a series of symptoms leading up to finding out that they have Crohn's disease. I literally random one day, just could not walk, could not stand. Nothing to my recollection at all, said, led up to this disease. Like, I had pain, I had stomach pain, but nothing was severe as what I started to experience from the time that I found out that I had Crohn's disease. So I was just completely confused. I was so lost. Nothing made sense to me at all. So I just did not understand, like, okay, how could I possibly have Crohn's disease? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, they wanted me to go to a specialist here in Memphis, which I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to name because my experience has not been great. But anyway, so yeah, I went to the specialist, and honestly, this is where everybody goes. I go and literally get an appointment the next day. I get an appointment the next day. I was like, I'll see anybody. They was like, well, the doctors are all booked, but you can see one of the doctors, nurse practitioners. I was like, I'll see it. I come in, I'm cool, I'm fine. Also, let me state this. When I could not walk, I wasn't crying. I wasn't screaming. I was just like, ugh. That's me. So when I went into the office or whatever, I still was experiencing some stomach pains and stuff like that or whatever. And I was like, hey, they didn't officially tell me this in the emergency room, but they think that I have Crohn's disease. And she looked at me up and down. She was like, you don't have Crohn's disease. I was like, okay, why don't I have Crohn's disease? She was like, you don't have Crohn's disease because people who have Crohn's disease are crying, they're kicking, they're screaming, and you're not doing any of that. So you don't have Crohn's disease. This might be an OB issue. So she starts poking around in my stomach or whatever. And she kept telling me, she was like, yeah, this is an OB issue. This is an OB issue. This is not Crohn's disease. She was like, I want you to go to your OBGYN. She scheduled me an appointment to do a ultrasound to look at my ovaries, all this stuff, because it's no way I had Crohn's disease. She was like, you're gonna do this ultrasound first. Depending on how the ultrasound comes back, then you'll do this other test, which will determine whether or not you have Crohn's disease. But I'm telling you, you don't have Crohn's disease. I was like, okay, cool. I'm experiencing stomach pain as the time goes on, as I'm waiting to my appointment. Actually, as I'm waiting to my appointment, my Crohn's disease is getting severely worse extremely fast, to the point where because the appointment was at least a week or so, far out, whatever, and I am throwing up. I'm having terrible pain. I don't throw up unless there's a reason. I'm not a throw upper. Okay. I have a weak stomach, but I'll walk out before I throw up. I hate throwing up. It's one of the worst things ever, especially after my pregnancy with Corey. It was awful. I was done with throwing up. So I avoid throwing up at all costs. Okay. So anyway, she's telling me, or whatever, like, you don't have Crohn's disease, da da da. I go to the emergency room again. They were like, we just saw you. We told you what was wrong. I was like, well, they told me I don't have it, and I gotta wait till I get an ultrasound. They was like, you have Crohn's disease. I was like, okay, I have Crohn's disease. Cool, fine. And at this point, I've been stuck on cried on or whatever because I threw up. So they had to take blood the first time I went to the ER or whatever. But now I've thrown up. I'm completely dehydrated. I have no liquids in me. And I had to get my first set of fluids, and I absolutely hated that. It burned. Don't nobody tell you that shit burned, but this shit burned. And having a needle in my arm for that long, administering medicine, was some of the most agitating thing I've ever experienced in my life. I could not sit still. It was awful. I hated it. And my husband really wanted to know what the hell was wrong with me. And so anyway, I ended up getting the ultrasound. And the ultrasound tech, she's not supposed to tell me anything because she's not a doctor. But she was like, well, you need to go see your OBGYN. It's not an emergency, but you need to go see your OBGYN. I am constantly in pain. So I hurry up and get to my OBGYN because somebody got to tell me something, okay? Somebody got to tell me something. So I go to the OBGYN, and it turns out that I had an ovary that had a cyst on it, and the cyst had burst. Well, you know why the cyst had burst? Because of the inflammation in my gut. The inflammation in my gut was caused by my Crohn's disease. So I had an ovary that burst because of my Crohn's disease had gotten so severe in literally a matter of weeks, really days, honestly. It had gotten so severe that we had to do something about it in a matter of days. Like, it was so bad. And my doctor was like, you are the second patient. My OBGYN was like, you are the second patient that we have seen inflammation so bad on an ultrasound like this. I was like, huh? Well, shit. I got Crohn's disease then, motherfucker. So I had to go through another, so I went back to the nurse practitioner. I want y'all to know something too. Going to a specialist is not cheap. I am an entrepreneur. At that time, I was paying for my own insurance. At the time, I was paying for my own insurance. It is not cheap. So with me paying for my own insurance and things like that or whatever, I'm not paying a lot for this insurance. So a lot of this stuff is coming out of my pocket. It's very expensive to see these specialists to get these tests done. So I'm getting one of these tests done. And as I'm getting one of these tests done, or whatever, it's very hard for me to go through the tests because I'm having to take all of this drink this stuff or whatever. It's super hard or whatever. But anyway, to make a long story short, it took from whatever the last day of May is until July 4th for me to get an actual diagnosis of Crohn's disease. I had one of the worst experiences ever. They could have just gave me a colonoscopy from the start based off of the inflammation from my ER results. They could have just given me a colonoscopy, but they bled me dry money-wise first because and I went to the ER I think 3 or 4 times in the process of trying to find out that I had Crohn's disease. And the crazy part is something that they will not tell you is that the ER is not equipped. The ER is not equipped to help anyone with Crohn's disease. They do not have the medicine to help you. All they can really do to you if you're experiencing some really bad is like sedate you or something like that or whatever. But you have to be admitted into the hospital in order to be properly taken care of if you have Crohn's disease, because the ER does not have that functionality or whatever to be able to help somebody who has Crohn's disease. So I'm in pain, okay, because now I'm experiencing severe pain. Now, I want you guys to understand this. I have none of this going on with me. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I literally one day just could not experience a walk or whatever, and then it just got bad. It got bad to the point where I was crying from the pain, where I was about to lose my shit for the pain, going to the ER just to look for some kind of solution. Because, like, what the fuck? They gave me something for the inflammation, but it wasn't good enough because my Crohn's was extremely severe. So it took what felt like months. I ended up getting a colonoscopy in June, so it wasn't that long. But I ended up getting a colonoscopy at the end of June, and I got it like the week of the 4th of July coming up. So I had to wait until July, like 6th or 7th, to get my results to find out that I had Crohn's disease. Still no medicine. Still no medicine, because they got to make sure that you actually have Crohn's disease. And I'm like, bruh, this is crazy. Because literally, like I said, from the day that I found out that, you know, from the results from the ER, they should have given me a colonoscopy so I could immediately find out that I had Crohn's. So when you get a colonoscopy, they take out, you know, the little things from the pathology, send it off to the lab so they can properly diagnose. Before I was even completely out of my sedation, because my husband records everything so we can keep record of stuff. Before I was completely out of sedation, the doctor had had told me, you know, you definitely have Crohn's disease. I've seen this before and it looks like Crohn's disease. If y'all would have just gave me but little miss over here, and I feel like I've never in my life had to advocate for myself as a Black woman medically. I mean, I did actually when I was pregnant with Corey. I actually was seeing a Black OBGYN, and they were awful, just point blank. The whole doctor's office was awful that I was going to. And I switched, and I advocated for myself by saying, you know what, I'm going to switch. I'm just not going to take this care. But I really had to advocate for myself with finding out that I had Crohn's disease, because I'm going to the best in Memphis. I'm going to the best. And I was almost at the point where I was like, how can I get my butt to Nashville? How can I get my butt to Nashville, Tennessee, inside of one of the medical schools? Because I have severe Crohn's disease and these people are not listening to me. Like, what the fuck do I have to do? Like, I was in that much pain. It was so bad. And I want y'all to know, I gave birth to my child. No epidural. No epidural. Straight up. Got 9 stitches in my coochie. All they did was numb it. Okay? All they did was numb it. And here I am losing that's how bad Crohn's is. Crohn's is way worse than anything that I experienced giving birth to that child. I give birth over and over and over again compared to severe Crohn's disease flare-up pain. Okay, I'll do it. You asked me to do it, baby, I'm doing it. So yeah, so anyway, I had to advocate for myself and I had to really, you know, figure it out. Anyway, I ended up getting a colonoscopy from the nurse practitioner, who her doctor she was under. I ended up going to him. He was old as all get out. His bedside manner wasn't great. The way he told me that I had Crohn's, I feel like I don't like to say this. I don't like to say this because I don't want to seem like I'm being insensitive, because my intention is not to be insensitive. I want you guys to know that my experience is real and what I feel and the pain that I feel and the people that I also know. If you think that cancer is the worst thing that you can get, if you think that cancer is the worst thing that you can get, I think that dang, I can't think of what type of disease I have. So I have IBS, which is Crohn's, but it's also a is it anti-inflammatory disease? Yes, anti-inflammatory. I think that's what it is. No, that's not what it is. Hold on, I gotta use my brain. What type of disease is it? Hold on. I'm back. Crohn's is an autoimmune disease. If you think that cancer is the worst thing that you can have, autoimmune is a very close second. Because the way autoimmune diseases affect your body. I forgot to tell you guys that Crohn's is an autoimmune disease. So autoimmune diseases fight your whole entire body. It fights your whole entire being. It is literally awful. I thought when I first had Crohn's that I was just going to be experiencing stomach pains, having issues with using the bathroom, which is crazy. I've been constipated what seems like my whole entire life. Part of that is my fault. I used to hold it because I absolutely hated pooping. Like, I hated it, but I still wasn't going as regularly as I needed to. I said something to my doctor about it or whatever. My parents were like extremely concerned because I used to stop the toilet up, but they didn't know it's because I was holding it. If they watch this video, I'm so sorry, Denise and Charles. Like, I was fucking their toilets up left and right because I was holding it. And they were taking me to a doctor and stuff like that or whatever because they thought it was because I only went, one time a week. I was only going one time a week, but I was only holding it for probably like 24 hours at most. I wasn't holding it severely. Is that the reason why I have Crohn's disease? I don't know. They call Crohn's disease an invisible disease because it literally comes out of nowhere. Can't nobody tell you why you got it. Can't nobody tell you and it's with you forever. This is the thing. I have my own theories. About Crohn's disease because they suggest a certain diet. If you get on Google right now and be like, what should Crohn's disease people eat? They suggest a certain diet. But when it comes medically, they can't tell you that Crohn's disease is associated with any diet because everybody's Crohn's disease is different. But they have these basic list of things that they say people with Crohn's disease can't eat, like popcorn, nuts, things that would make you go to the bathroom, right? Because most people who have Crohn's disease possibly have bowel obstructions. And bowel obstructions is when you can't go to the bathroom. It's stuck there in your small intestines. It explodes in your body. That's bad. You could die from that. But so far, I haven't had that type of Crohn's disease. Everybody's Crohn's disease is different. Everybody's Crohn's disease is located different. One of my friends' Crohn's disease is in a wild place. I'm not going to tell you where her Crohn's disease is located, but I'm going to tell you guys where my Crohn's disease is located. My Crohn's disease is actually way more severe than both of my friends. But one of my friends experiences some really crazy symptoms and experiences or whatever. And I have a theory on that as well. I think it's because of the medicine that she's on and some other shit, but I ain't gonna get on all of that because it ain't about her, it's about me. But my Crohn's disease, when I first had my first colonoscopy, I was told that my Crohn's disease was in my ileum. That's somewhere in your lower intestines, like somewhere like by your ribs. I don't freaking know. It makes sense because that's where I have pain. Anyway, I end up having an endoscopy and finding out that my Crohn's is also in my throat and somewhere in my upper intestines as well. So yes, my Crohn's is in 3 places. So I was seeing the doctor that I was seeing. I ended up being on a biologic. They automatically presented me with a biologic, which my friend told me that's what they were gonna put me on because we all go to the same doctor's office. Because again, this is the best that we have to offer here in Memphis. And not saying that they're not great. I just don't think that they're best for Black people. I also think that they're overwhelmed. Actually, I'm not gonna say that they're not the best for Black people. I can't tell if they're being racist. I for sure think that old girl from the first time was being racist because Black people don't experience pain and all that woo-woo. And since I wasn't acting a fool about, my symptoms and things like that or whatever, I feel like that was more on the racist side. But I think that they're overwhelmed because they are the best. And these people see so many patients. Like my particular doctor, the last time I tried to make an appointment with him, he was booked out already 3 months out. What is that about? That's crazy. Like, that's crazy. And I do have a very good doctor. I like him. He's not old, which is something I did not want to go to. I wanted to go to a newer doctor. With having a disease like this, I want to see somebody who is more open to newer medicine and what they're doing and discoveries and things like that when it comes to the disease. I don't see this disease as like, some people, when they have an OBGYN, they prefer for that person to be older and things like that. Having children is one of the oldest things of all time. Nothing has really changed in that space except for the fact that Black women die at the hand of doctors on a daily basis because they don't listen to us. But other than that, I really wanted this experience to be very particular when it came to find out that I had Crohn's. So I immediately changed the old man that I was going to my friend's doctor who was younger because I ain't had time for that. But yeah, so they automatically told me that I was going to have to be on a biologic. I cannot say biologic. Lord Jesus, I don't know why I couldn't say that. You know how you be getting stuck on words. Anyway, So yeah, I'm right where I'm supposed to be with my notes. So my biologic, a biologic is basically a strong drug that is produced using a living system, and it targets inflammation. The particular drug that I'm on, if you've ever seen a commercial for Skyrizi, Skyrizi is a drug that's used for two things: Crohn's disease and plaque psoriasis, which are both caused by inflammation. So it targets that or whatever. I started Skyrizi back in August, I think. August, when I first started it, I was getting it. It's kind of like, I've never had chemotherapy, but what I've seen in TV shows and things like that or whatever, it's kind of like getting chemotherapy. You go into an infusion space, an infusion room where you sit in a chair, you get an IV. People get chemotherapy, they get ports. So we don't, of course, we don't get a port, but you get an infusion. You sit there for hours and you get the drug. There are so many different biologics. There are older biologics. Skyrizi is a newer biologic. And even though it is a newer biologic, it's been out for I think about 4 or 5 years, and it has the best results. I honestly don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why. Most people are not on Skyrizi. It's extremely expensive. The current cost as of January 2024 is $21,000.36. Yeah, 21,000. I researched. I have all this information in my notes so I can be able to tell you guys. It's extremely expensive, and a lot of people's insurance do not cover it. So, I am now on my husband's insurance. The insurance that I was on at first covered it being infused in my arm, which they infuse it in your arm for your first 3 doses, and then after that, it is something that you take in the ease of your own home, which I like because my friend is on a drug where she's there for 3 whole hours for her infusion. She does it every week. The infusion that I do at home is with a device. I wish I had it to show you. I actually have one upstairs, but I don't feel like going up there to get it. But it's with a device. Let me see. I'm recording this on Zoom. So I can get on Google to show you guys what the device looks like. But it's a device. It's not like, giving yourself like giving yourself a diabetic shot or whatever. It's not like doing that, whatever, because it's not a infusion like that. It might have used to be like an infusion like that because I'm these pictures that I have or whatever up, but it's not like that for what I have done with it. So yeah, let's pull it up so you guys can see. All right, so it is an on-body injector. It's literally just like this. I put it on the side of my stomach. I press that little gray button right there, and it's done. Unfortunately, I've only done it one time. So I started the at-home infusions. I think I started that either in November or December. I can't quite remember, but that is the only one that I've had, and I'm talking about of 2023. It is currently April of 2024, and that's the only one I've had. The medicine is supposed to last you within 8 weeks. I actually can tell y'all an exact date, which I would prefer because then I would be able to tell you guys how long I have not been on the medicine. Hold on one second. Let me find it. I made a video on my Instagram when I had to get it. Even though I'm very terrified of all things needles, and let me tell y'all something, when I started getting my infusions, I started crying. crying. I was crying every time I did it. I actually told the nurse that if I could not take my husband with me the first time I got it, that I would indeed have a panic attack. They folks did not care. I went there by myself. But yeah, I literally cried every time I got stuck. And then they had to constantly run tests every time I got it. They had to run tests before I got it. I also had to get a TB shot because when you have an autoimmune disease, you are open to literally every infection in the freaking world. And so they made you get all this stuff. Um, I actually have, I don't think I've ever had a cold since I've been diagnosed with Crohn's. Maybe I did, but it didn't matter because I was on medicine. Like I think I had a cold this winter, but I was on medicine, so I didn't experience it as severely as I am currently experiencing the current cold that I have because I have not been on medicine. But anyway, I'll put the link to this video in there, but you can't really see it. But anyway, I cried in this video. Like, I am a crybaby. I want y'all to know. This was making Crohn's very real for me. This was making Crohn's very real for me in a way that I did not like it at all. I mean, at all, you guys. It was awful for me. This is one of my biggest fears, having a disease. Like, if anybody were to ever tell me in my life that I was pre-diabetic, which I think someone did one time. I think they told me I was pre-diabetic one time. I did whatever I could to not have to constantly stick myself. This is one of my biggest fears. Never had any surgeries, never broken a bone. Would love to keep it that way. The most severe thing that I did before finding out that I had Crohn's was had my baby. That was the most severe thing that I did. That was the most severe that I did. So anyway, I took this medicine November 22nd. The last time I took it, hold on, let me ask Google. Hey, Siri, what is 8 weeks from November 22nd, 2023? So the last time I was supposed to take the medicine was Wednesday, January 17th. And let me state this. When you get on Skyrizi, they do a very good job, which they should because the medicine is extremely expensive. They do a very good job with pairing you with a nurse ambassador. That person is the person who is supposed to tell you about how to use the drug, any questions you have about the drug, anything like that, which she did an amazing job of all of that. She's really sweet. I like her. But yeah, so she showed me how to use it the first time. She was supposed to show me how to use it the second time, but I declined. And the reason why I declined was because I know me. If you constantly, I already don't want to do this. So if you constantly show up for me and show me how to do something, I'm gonna call you every time. I know me. So I wanted to be a big girl and I recorded it when she did it the first time. I didn't record it for content when I first did it. I recorded it for memory when she first did it. So I was like, I'm gonna learn how to do this. Everything's gonna be fine. Bullshit. I don't know what I did wrong. Me and my husband read the directions to the T, but the medicine spilled completely out. I also would like to mention that when I found out that I had Crohn's, my official diagnosis, my doctor was like, hey, are there anything life things coming up or, things that you want to happen in your life or whatever that you want to happen in the next year that I should know about? I was like, well, I wanted to have another child. And he was like, oh, well, let's not do that because you could have a bowel obstruction and that could kill the baby. And I was like, okay, cool, fine. As I'm going through my Crohn's experiencing, I'm realizing that I don't have the type of Crohn's that does bowel obstructions. I have the type of Crohn's where I go to the bathroom too much. Like way too much. So while I'm waiting on my Skyrizi, I was just literally, because that was a long process as well. I was really just doing prednisone, which is making me look horrible in the face, baby, horrible. Which is kind of keeping the inflammation down, but not good enough. But I was shitty mix shit the whole time. It was awful. Anyway, which is so crazy because I couldn't go to the bathroom at all. Literally the week before I found out that I had Crohn's, I couldn't tell you the last time I went to the bathroom. One random Monday, and I can't stop shit. It's honestly crazy. Anyway, invisible disease to the T. If you made it this far, thanks for watching because this is a lot of information. I don't even know how long I've been talking at this point. I don't even know what time I started. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm trying to hurry up and wrap this up. So yeah, That was the last time I was supposed to take the medicine. My doctor's office, like I told y'all, I've had some bad experiences with them from the jump, and I don't have time to go in with all the bad experiences that I've had. I'll probably write a blog post because I said I want to start writing blog posts. I was very inspired by this girl named Carmen. She started writing blogs. I haven't seen people do that in a very long time. But anyway, I'll probably do a blog post to really detail my whole entire experience because I talk too much and we'll be going all day. But anyway, my doctor's office, I called the company who makes the drug, which is one of the big people in big pharma. And I ain't gonna say too much because I don't want them to kill me. Okay. Anyway, they make the drug or whatever. And I am on a program where they pay for the drug, which I am very appreciative of because that drug is very expensive. It wasn't like that at first. My insurance did not cover me infusing it at home, and I forgot to mention that. So they were providing the drug or whatever. I called the company to let them know that I need a replacement because the medicine spilled out when I was trying to take it. Because I did it by myself. The medicine was I was doing the infusion. I felt the prick, but I think I just got like a partial infusion. I didn't get a full infusion. Anyway, so I had that experience. And then after that experience, what happened? I asked them to replace it. They were like, well, because you got a partial infusion, we have to have your doctor sign off on paperwork to say it's okay to give you another one. So I called my doctor literally the next day, called them and said, hey, they're going to send you some paperwork. Can y'all take care of that? Blah, blah, blah. Nobody ever did. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I went weeks and I started to feel perfectly fine. So I was like, okay, just fuck it. I'll just wait till my next infusion. So it's time for my next infusion. And I found out that I am indeed pregnant. I don't remember the day that I found out that I was pregnant, but I found out that I was pregnant in between the 8 weeks of waiting for my next infusion. And I'm feeling amazing, great, grand, right? And I told somebody else who also has, oh yeah, I'm starting to feel sick. I need to pause. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if what I'm currently experiencing is pregnancy, Crohn's, or the cold that I currently have. Too much going on at once, Lord Jesus. Anyway, back to it. So, took some water and turned the air on because I'm sweating. So I don't know where I was. But anyway, I had the medicine, feeling good. Hopefully I'm doing great. Yeah, so I'm doing that or whatever. My next infusion was supposed to be on my birthday, but I needed my doctor to call me and let me know. I mean, on my daughter's birthday, not my birthday, on my daughter's birthday. But I needed to confirm that it was okay with my doctor for me to continue to take the medicine because I give it to myself in my stomach. And to be honest, I just didn't feel comfortable. And I know it doesn't go past the layer that the baby is in and the nice little cocoon that the baby is in. I know that, but I just didn't feel comfortable with sticking my stomach. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure. Well, I called my doctor on Monday. I was supposed to give himself on Wednesday. Because I guess I had found out. Yeah, I had found out that weekend. I found out that weekend, so I called my doctor on Monday. Because I ordered the medicine, they overnight it to you because it has to be in this cold box. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I was like, before I call them and order the medicine, I'm going to make sure I'm good. So calling my doctor. I called him early in the morning. I'm expecting a response. Same day, got no response. Call him on Tuesday, no response. Call him on Wednesday, no response. And I called my nurse ambassador and she was like, yeah, you want to get approval from your doctor first or whatever. She can't give me approval because she's not a doctor. So I was like, okay, I'm calling. I call all week. I get no response. It wasn't until I freaking started cutting up and saying, this is some bullshit. This and I had to say it in the email for somebody to finally say, the man was at an office. It was the week of spring break. He was at an office. He wasn't even freaking there. He wasn't even nowhere by no Wi-Fi. And nobody at the doggone doctor's office told me that he was at an office. Anyway, So, I think I took matters into my own hands by then. Or he had told me, or he had told one of the nurses, he was like, you need to be on something. Anyway, I get the drug, I order it, it comes in, my nurse ambassador comes, we follow the steps. I pressed the button, but I pressed it like this with my nail. And I don't know if it was because I pressed it like that or what. Then I came back and pressed it the right way. But then the button turned red on how you give it to me. And so, yeah, that was supposed to be on March 13th. It is now April 8th. I can't tell you exactly how long I have been without the drugs. But on the Saturday before Easter, I was feeling fine until I started experiencing. So one of my Crohn symptoms, which is the autoimmune disease symptom, is joint pain. I have horrible joint pain. Before I have any stomach pain, I have horrible joint pain. Like while I was waiting to get on the drug and getting my insurance to prove it, I was having the worst joint pain. Like it would just straight up and down paralyze me how bad the pain was. So I started experiencing some not severe but mild enough to be concerning joint pain the week leading up to Easter. And then I had a completely horrible Crohn's flare up because I know what my Crohn's foods triggers are. Because while I was waiting to get on my drug, I was trying out different foods just so I could know what my triggers were, because I decided that I wanted to make a lifestyle change. I started doing hot yoga, and I started doing an anti-inflammatory diet. But while I was doing the anti-inflammatory diet, I was experimenting with different foods every day to try to see what would trigger my Crohn's, just so I could know, because I really wanted to make a lifestyle change. Everybody's Crohn's is not triggered by the same things. Like most people who have Crohn's can't do dairy. I can. Most people who have Crohn's can't do nuts. I can. I haven't tried popcorn. Oh, I actually ate popcorn once, but I'm not a big popcorn eater. It didn't affect me, but I also was on the drug at that time, so I don't know. But caffeine is a huge trigger for me. Caffeine is a huge trigger for me, so I don't drink sodas at all, and I do not drink tea with caffeine in it. If I drink tea with a lot of caffeine in it, I would have a severe Crohn's flare, and that's what ended up happening the day that I had a severe Crohn's flare the night before Easter. Brings me to one of the reasons why I had to mention that I was pregnant in this video. At first, I wasn't concerned because my doctor was like, yeah, we don't want you to have a bowel obstruction. But inflammation can also cause issues when it comes to pregnancy. It can cause for the fetus to not be able to grow properly, because when your gut is inflamed, there's no space for the baby to do what it needs to do. So yeah, when the machine failed on me the second time, I was like, this is a sign from God. This is a sign from God. Like, he does not want me to take that drug. Like, he does not want me to take this drug. And I like to get opinions about things publicly. And I also have a trauma about signs from God. Like, that's a long story, but I used to think that every time that something wrong went in my life, that it was a sign from God. And I was like, this is God. Like, this is God trying to tell me not to take this drug when I'm pregnant, that, and the third. But I experienced a bad Crohn's flare from not being on the medicine so long. And I'm experiencing so much shit from, today is now April 8th. Easter was on the 31st. Baby, in the past 2 weeks, I'm over here shaking in my boots, all the Crohn's. Like, I was like, I can't do this. So I called my doctor and I was like, hey, what should I do? The Skyrizi isn't working for me. I thought it was God telling me not to take Sky. I didn't tell them that, of course, but I was like, I thought this is God not telling me, don't take this Skyrizi, don't take this drug. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? And they were like, we can put you on another drug. You can try Remicade, which is what my friend is on. And they were like, you can do Remicade. I didn't do any research on Remicade at all personally, which is crazy because I do research on everything. I do research on Tylenol. But I was like, I'm like, I need something bad. So I was like, okay, cool, fine. Y'all want to put me on Remicade? That's fine. And then nobody had called me back when I literally called them the Monday after Easter, and I was like, hey, put me on something ASAP. And they was like, okay, they called me back like literally right after, and they was like, yeah, we can put you on Remicade. Like, okay. So I was expecting somebody to call me back on Tuesday. So when nobody called me back on Tuesday, I'm calling them on Thursday, like, what the fuck is that? I need some drugs. I need it bad. I don't want nothing to happen to my baby. Like, I don't want anything to happen to my baby. Like, this is a pregnancy that I feel like was a gift from God. A lot of people will say that they experience, a lot of people will say that they will experience their Crohn's feeling like it goes into remission when they're pregnant. That's not the reason why I wanted to get pregnant. I wanted to complete what I felt like was complete family, which is 2 kids for me by a certain age. I'm 32. My child is 3. I wanted it to be done at a certain time, or whatever. But but honestly, y'all, husband was shooting the club and nothing was happening. So I started thinking, you know what? I can't get pregnant because of Crohn's. Like, I can't get pregnant because of Crohn's. Because I had talked to somebody, I can't remember who I had talked to, but they were like, yeah, most of the time you can't get pregnant because of the inflammation. If your Crohn's is not in remission, it's hard to get pregnant. So I was like, I can't get pregnant. So getting pregnant was a surprise. Getting pregnant was a surprise. But before getting pregnant was a surprise, it was I had a unhealthy obsession with wanting to get pregnant. I was taking pregnancy tests all the time, knowing doggone well I wasn't pregnant. Like, in unreal times, like I was taking pregnancy tests while I was having a period. I had an unhealthy obsession, but I also was extremely depressed. That's another story for another time. Anyway, so you know, I'm like, hey, I'm concerned at this point or whatever. So I'm because I was like, at first I was like, I'm going drug free. Like, once it, in between like finding out that I was pregnant and the device failing the second time, I was like, I'm going drug free. I'm making the decision to go drug free. I asked the people in the Crohn support group that I'm in on Facebook, I was like, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let me know what y'all think. And then more than half of them were like, oh, I wasn't on any drugs. When I found out that I was pregnant, I got off all drugs because I just didn't feel comfortable. Third. Anyway, I decided to randomly do. So I called when I found out that they did not call me. It wasn't random. When they did not call me or whatever, and they were like, yeah, I called them or whatever, and they were like, yeah, we have to wait on the approval from your insurance company. It takes up to 14 business days. So my ass is supposed to just sit here and fucking wait on drugs that I need while I'm in a pretty serious freaking condition. And you already can't take them while you're pregnant. So I was like, let me do research on this drug. I don't want to sit here for 3 hours. Not only that, people on Remicade have horrible side effects, which is part of the reason why I feel like my friend's Crohn's is not getting on any better, and she's had Crohn's way longer than I have. Because, like, let me tell you something. For the time that I was on Skyrizi from November up to January, I felt like I didn't have nothing. I was eating what I wanted. I was drinking what I wanted. I was doing what I wanted. I felt like I had nothing except for the excessive shit that was coming out of my butt. None of the pain, like the pain or the symptoms and stuff that I'm experiencing right now, sitting here with you guys telling you this video, I wasn't experiencing that at all. So I knew I had a good drug. Also, the research proves that it's a good drug. Most people's Crohn's go completely into remission after being on Skyrizi for a year. Like, after being on Skyrizi for a year, your Crohn's goes into remission, unless you have horrible Crohn's where you need surgeries and all that type of stuff. And I wasn't feeling none of that. Okay, so I knew I was good. But yeah, once I started seeing those side effects that people were having, with being on Remicade and stuff like that or whatever, I knew I wanted to be on a drug that was produced by AbbVie, the same people who make the Crohn's, Skyrizi. So I knew I wanted to be on a drug produced by them because their customer service, impeccable. which again, it should be $21,000. The medicine is $21,000. So, yeah, y'all, to make a long story short, because I don't know how long I've been talking, but I know it's been for a minute. But yeah, as of right now, I have no medicine. I have not been to the doctor yet to check on my baby at all because I'm very scared. I just became 8 weeks yesterday. I'm so scared. I'm scared that I'm gonna get up to the doctor, that ultrasound at hospital, and they're gonna tell me that there is nothing there. I am terrified and I feel so guilty because I chose to go medicine free. I feel horrible about my decision, my choice. And I'm also scared to call the company that makes Skyrizi and tell them that I need another dosage, because I'm scared that they're gonna tell me that I can't get it, or that my doctor's office is gonna have to sign off on it again, which is all very stupid. It was actually on my to-do list today to call them, but I just could not get myself to do it. I don't know. I'm paralyzed with fear. But tomorrow, I am for sure taking my big grown ass to the doctor, and I'm going to call them. I mean, not to the doctor, but to the company, and call them and tell them to send me another device, because they will overnight the device. Hopefully, I don't have to do some long drawn out explanation or anything like that. Hopefully, just based off of my Skyrizi ambassadors, what she saw when I was happening, I hope that's enough to get them to overnight it, and hopefully I will be injecting myself on Wednesday, because you girls damn bad. This cold is 10 times worse than probably would ever be because of my autoimmune disease. I'm experiencing very bad joint pain in my knees. I went to the bathroom earlier and it was awful. I almost died. I felt like I almost died. So I'm going to unparalyze myself with fear tomorrow, and I'm going to call them. But yeah, that has been my experience so far. Today is Monday, April 8th, and it's 11:35 p.m. 2024. This is entry 1, episode 1 of having Crohn's disease while pregnant as a Black woman. Pray for me, y'all, because I am completely terrified. Completely terrified. I just hope that my baby is okay, that I'm okay, that everything is fine. So yeah, that's it. That's all. I'm sorry that this video was so long. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to put some, little indents of information there. I hope you learned something. If you feel abnormal at any point, because I actually had lots of signs to lead up to this. My doctor actually told me that my very, very bad acid reflux was a sign, because my acid reflux was extremely abnormal. I couldn't eat any food, couldn't swallow any food. Crohn's in my damn throat. So should have been a red flag to my doctor, my regular PC doctor, that I indeed had a problem and needed to be tested. I needed an endoscopy to find out whether or not I had Crohn's, but it wasn't. So if you feel any type of way, stomach pains that feel like they're not normal stomach pains, it's not a period, it's not a cramp, gas should not be as bad where you cannot walk. If you experience any of those things, tell somebody, let somebody know, do something about it immediately, because like I said, Crohn's disease is a severe disease. People can ultimately have issues, obstructions that can be deadly. They can be awful, and the pain just alone, and what autoimmune diseases do to you altogether, autoimmune diseases affect your teeth. They affect your whole entire body. I actually have been experiencing some tooth aching pain since in the past couple of days, and I think that's all because of me not having my medicine. A girl inside of my Crohn's group lost a tooth because of Crohn's. Literally, a tooth, which is your whole body becomes weak because of autoimmune diseases. And having an autoimmune disease is very expensive, just like having cancer. Hell, just like having any disease, honestly, it's very expensive. And unfortunately, a lot of people in my Facebook group do not have access to healthcare. So they don't have any drugs. They're not on any drugs. Right now, I'm on my husband's insurance. My husband's insurance does not pay for any of my Crohn's needs. Before I found out I was pregnant, I was supposed to get another colonoscopy to see how Skyrizi was doing with my Crohn's, how I was treating it. And they did not cover my colonoscopy at all. The colonoscopy out of pocket was going to cost me $2,500 that day that I was going to get the colonoscopy. Like I said, it's a very expensive disease. Very expensive disease. The insurance that my husband is paying or whatever out of his check at work, it's a very expensive versus look, I was only paying $250 for United Healthcare and they approved my stuff. I only had to pay $300 out of pocket for my disease. So yeah, they do not pay a lot of things, but even that's just one particular procedure. But it's a very expensive disease. It has not bankrupt me, but became very close. I haven't been able to do financially things that I want to because of the disease, and it's just honestly a hot ass mess altogether. This economy, this time right now is the wrong time to have a disease. But anyway, again, neither here nor there. But yeah, it's a lot of experiences that go on with this disease. Can't sleep. I have heart, like I cannot sleep, and it's so bad because right now I don't know if I can't sleep because I'm pregnant, or I don't know if I can't sleep because I have Crohn. It might be a combination of both. So I actually don't have any sleep aid. I just realized tonight I have nothing. I don't have. I was taking Unisum and I was taking Benadryl to go to sleep, but I ran out of both of that as of last night. So I am kind of screwed. But yeah, so yeah, that is my experience. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I would love to make a follow-up video, but when I finally do muster up the strength, which will be tomorrow, to do all the things that I have to do, to lead up, as long as I am not violating any HIPAA violations or laws or anything like that, I will be vlogging my experience from start to finish with having Crohn's, being pregnant, trying to get medicine, and all that jazz. So if you have any questions or want to learn more about my Crohn's experience, keep on watching. Bye.